This is a short bite episode of Homeschool Together. Hello and welcome to Homeschool Together, short bite edition. Thanks so much for joining us. Ariel, give me a challenge card.
A triceratops has 3 horns on its body. How many horns would 8 triceratops have? Move forward that number of spaces.
Ooh, that's some big time math. We would be talking about Dino Math Tracks. Today
This is so cute.
I know
this game.
it's a very cute game. So we're kind of getting into the end of Right Start Math B. So that'd be the second level of it. We finished Math Mammoth level 1. And so we're about to get into Right Start Math C, and we're doing a lot of addition and subtraction in the thousands, and we're doing the borrowing and carrying the 10. A lot of work around this area, and we went ahead and dug out a game that we've had this one for a little while, right?
Yeah, I purchased this one a couple of years ago because I knew that we would get here eventually, and I had heard really good things. This is a game from Learning Resources.
Yeah, so we have a number of these games, and I think we've talked about a number of games. I think people have seen these if you do Googling for games that tend to be very heavy on kind of the learning idea. Instead of like more of the theme playability, these tend to be more heavy learning.
These are more education based than just fun game based. But yeah, this is Dino Math Tracks. It says it's ages 6+. We're playing it with our 6, almost 7-year-old. Yep. It's for 2 to 4 players. How long would you say it takes to play?
Oh man, maybe less, 10-15 minutes at the most. And basically this is a math place value game. So you can think everything from the ones place, the tens place, the hundreds place, to the thousands place.
And it has these cute little rubber dinosaurs.
Lots of beautiful little meeples.
Different dinosaurs in different colors. They're adorable.
Absolutely. And so basically what you will do is you will select from this whole wide range of meeples. They're all dinosaurs. And I don't know what period they all are in. So some of these dinosaurs.
There is a woolly mammoth in here. I'm just saying. It's not all dinosaurs. But anyway.
I want to call shenanigans on their woolly mammoth in here. But that being said, basically you end up choosing one character. So if you choose the woolly mammoth, you have all 4 different colors. And the colors pertain to a place value on the board. And you can think of it as sort of like a Candyland, kind of a track of footprints where the animals are walking along. And each row is a different color. So you have blue, purple, orange, and yellow. And based on, where you move along that is the thousands place, the hundreds place, the tens place, and the ones place. And you're going to be doing an action of rolling 4 dice. Now, this is what's really cool is if you have a learner that is not up to 1,000 yet or to the hundreds place, and they're only really just in the ones and the tens place, great. You pare the game down to this one level. Right, and as the learner learns more and more place values, you can expand the game. So the game has this really wonderful expandability, progressively adding new, more and more things.
But wait, there's a dino burger ahead. Your hungry herd speeds up.
Move forward.
400.
400. And so,
dino burger.
So basically, what you're doing is you're rolling these 4 dice, and what you're doing is you're taking these dice and you're assembling them in a number. So you can put say for example, you get a 5, a 4, a 3, and a 2. You put the 5 wherever you want it to be. So let's say we put it in the thousands place, and then the 4 goes in the hundreds, or maybe we want the 4 to be in the tens place. Because what we're doing is we're building this number and we're moving all of our dinosaurs forward that many spaces that correspond to the face value of the dice. So if you got a 2 in your ones place, you move your dinosaur 2 spaces forward. And that is really just the basic, the way the game is played.
But that's one version.
That's one version. And what's really cool is there's 3 versions of this game. And why I really like this game is that it's built to grow with the learner. So the base game is really just you moving forward on the board
with dice.
With the dice, and one thing that I really like to do is I like to have my learner put them down, in order, and then they do the movements. And at the end, I ask her to please read me the number. Because it's very easy to just say, oh, I'm moving my blue dinosaur forward 3 spaces. That's great, but I want you to read the number that you built. So 4,378 or whatever, or 65 or whatever it might be. I want you to read that number. Cool thing is as 2 people are playing or 3 people are playing, if you have a conflict where your dinosaur ends up on the same place as another dinosaur, like say in the hundreds place, they have a green dice. And this is where you roll to see who wins the tie. And so say you have this green dice, you roll it and I roll a 2 and then you roll a 3. Great. Your dinosaur, even if it wasn't your turn, gets to move forward 3 more spaces. So they have this cool little tiebreaker thing. So you can choose your numbers to avoid getting in the same spot as other people. Sometimes you're like your thousands dinosaur might be like way out ahead, like 6 or 7 spaces ahead of everything else. Well, great. When you roll the dice, maybe you want to put your one, the dice that rolled a 1, put that in the thousands so I can catch up my hundreds, my tens, and my ones. And the goal is to get all of your dinosaurs to the, I think the forgotten waterfall at the very end. And the dinosaurs can cross at different times, so it's not a big deal there. So first person to get all their dinosaurs to the end wins. It's super simple, not very complex, and the footprints kind of snake around the board. It's really cool. Now that's the first version of the game. The second version of the game, I believe, is not the problem solving.
It's the action cards.
It's the action cards. So basically after you
That was the Dino Burger reference.
That is the Dino Burger. So after you've assembled your number and you've moved all of your dinosaurs forward, the various place values that you've selected, Errol's pulling them out right now, then you pick the action, and so they flip over a card, and then they get to do that action. Your dinosaur is hungry. Run forward 400 spaces. So they need to know. They need to go to the hundreds place of my dinosaur and move that one forward.
So this one says like food ahead. Move 1,000, 0 hundreds, 4 tens, and 4 ones.
Exactly. And so they have to kind of assemble that, think about it, and actually move their numbers forward. And if you have a learner who is kind of beginning to read, you'd want them to learn, you do the reading
like
there.
This one says, your dino herd swims to Dino Pond, paddle ahead, 1,020, and it just lists the number.
Yep.
So they'd have to be able to know, okay, 1,020, that means...
Exactly.
And really figure that out and
sometimes it's moving you forward, but also sometimes it's moving you backward. It could be a bad card for you. I didn't see as many.
So you still roll, but then you also do the cards?
You do that at the very end.
Okay, so it's kind of both.
Yeah, and then that's the second version of the game. And then the third version of the game is this problem-solving one.
Tyrannosaurus grew up to 48 feet long. Diplodocus grew up to 78 feet long. How much longer was Diplodocus? Move forward that number of spaces.
Perfect. So you got some basic addition.
That's pretty cool.
They have very basic multiplication. Like you had read the one with the Triceratops horn. So it was 3, and then you have 8, so you got 24. Really, really cool to get those like basic math skills, but do it in kind of a fun, playable manner. Now, with respect to the game, the board is very simple. The meeples are very cute. They're pretty robust. The dice are really nice. They're nice and big.
Yeah, they're very chunky.
They're very chunky dice. Not your normal small dice. They're actually kind of like, I would say they're almost like twice as large as a normal dice. But the cards are very thin. That would be something to
I would
keep
say
in a bag.
Our version is a little bit older. We do not have the latest printing of this game, but from everything that I've seen, pictures of it, it looks exactly the same.
Normally, you can imagine a card being something like a bicycle deck of cards, like just kind of like a deck of cards. This kind of feels like kind of the heavy cardstock paper.
Yeah, it feels like heavy
so
cardstock.
a little bit lower quality printing. But again, I go with you that this is an older printing of the game, so the game may actually have a little bit more advanced printing, maybe a little bit better quality stuff. But from that being said, it was really, really fun. I actually played this with my oldest and the youngest at the same time. The youngest was not doing the place value stuff, but I had her assembling the number. And then I was having her move the dinos forward. And so she got to kind of play along. So I was able to incorporate the 3-year-old as well into this game. She kind of tapped out after like the 4th or 5th round of playing. But we had a lot of fun. We've played, I think, now like 10, 12 versions. Like we've done the game through 10 or 12 times.
You keep telling me to log it in my board game stats app.
I keep getting crushed by my daughter on this game. It's really fun. I have enjoyed it. It's a very simple thing. It's a very cheap and quick, wonderful game to add to anyone who is going into, Math Mammoth level 2, Right Start Math, B, C level. I have noticed this to be very helpful, especially right now with my learners, because we're doing a lot of thousands place.
Right.
Edition.
So we're doing Right Start and then Math Mammoth and then Right Start. So we're kind of alternating. So she's finished Math Mammoth 1. She finished Right Start A, Math Mammoth 1, and we're almost done with Right Start B. Yeah. And our daughter is like right in the target, and she can basically play all 3 versions of this game at this point, right?
Yeah.
So I think you could really start this for those who are in later stages of Right Start A.
Yes.
It probably would be fine to start this, and you could play the earlier version of the game.
If you're in the middle of say that, or also Math Mammoth 1, if you're in that, this is absolutely a game you can pick.
It's right in your wheelhouse.
Right in your wheelhouse, especially the way it expands. They even say, if your learner hasn't been introduced to thousands or even is a little difficult with the hundreds place, dial down the number of dinosaurs and play the game as is. And you can still play with the cards, but if it doesn't apply to that number, you just leave that off. So if it's like 1020, well then fine, they just move forward 20 spaces, whatever that might be. So really fun game, place value, a lot of math, a lot of built-in math, and it's a progressive. It will grow with your learner as they move forward with math. Really fun. The meeples are great. So I would really recommend Dino Math Track.
Thanks so much for joining us today and making us a part of your homeschool journey. Please engage with us on social media. Join our Homeschool Together podcast group on Facebook and find us at Homeschool Together Podcast on Instagram. We'd love to hear your feedback, questions, and recommendations. Until next time,
happy homeschooling!